I might look calm, cool, in control of the situation most of the time. I might be known for my, what can happen? But deep down, I'm a warrior. And I worry for many different reasons. I worry that I'm not spending enough time with my family. I'm worried for a high school friend whose mother is in palliative care. I worry that my sermons won't be good enough. I worry if I will finish on time my Bible study lessons we have on Monday evening. And as I look at the calendar, well, I see Advent coming, and I worry that I won't find an inspirational theme for the season. I worry about the outcome of the federal election, which are October the 19th. Please go and vote, please. What else? We just bought a house, so I worry that we did not purchase enough insurance, or if there are many loopholes or policy does not cover. I look at our mortgage and I worried by the fact we signed for 30 years. 30 years, I will be 75. So I'm worrying about, well, you get the picture. And this is just that came top of my head when I was writing this sermon. Right now, I could easily give you many, many more items to add to this list. I worry, and I don't think I'm the only one. We live in an incredibly anxious culture that urges us to worry. Everywhere we go, everywhere we turn, everywhere we look, we are surrounded by countless images and messages of scarcity that reminds us how much there is to worry about. We turn on the TV and we're bombarded by commercials constantly inviting us to worry about one more thing the sponsored product should supposedly solve. And we acquire those objects even if we know very well that they will not reduce our anxiety. They usually generate even more anxiety. Because once we start believing that some objects can satisfy our deepest needs and bring security in our lives, well, we discover that there's never enough. We need more. We want more. So we begin to count, to track, to pile them. And then we take a look around us and we discover that our house is filled with valuables and someone could break in and rob us. So we install security systems and transform our place into a fortress so we could enjoy a secure and worry-free life. It's totally crazy. It's totally crazy. And then we come across today's text, this Sunday's text. The author of the Gospel according to Matthew took the core of Jesus' teaching and bundled it together in the passage we call the Sermon on the Mount. And we love this part of the Bible. We love it. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are the pure at heart, for they will see God. And Jesus goes on with beautiful words. Everything is amazing until we reach today's, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body, or what you will wear. And we just want to say, what? How in the world can Jesus possibly ask us, well, command us not to be preoccupied by this? Well, we know Jesus preached about the coming of the kingdom of God in which everything will be changed, everything will be transformed. And yet, there's a huge gap between trusting God's faithfulness and living like the birds in the air and the lilies in the field. This statement does not sound like something coming from a respected religious leader, but rather from a single guy living in a care life free in a van down by the river. Not worrying about our life, what we will eat, what we will drink, our body, what we will wear, is maybe easier for some than others. It's like the voluntary practice of simple living. It might be very interesting when one is rich and want to downsize. However, when one is poor, simple living is everything but simple, or leading to a decent living. In Jesus' time, as it is still the case today, too many men, women, children survive on the bare subsistence level. Eviction from home is a possibility. Each month, scraping the last penny out of the last pennies we have to buy outwear for the children is a reality coming every fall, especially in Canada. We might like to pretend to live without them. We might like to pretend they're not very important, but let us just try to live without them for just a little while, and we will discover how important and essential they are. Unfortunately, too many theologians and ministers have misinterpreted Jesus' words by using today's text to write and deliver a full-fledged charge against wealth, riches, and capitalism. Jesus is not necessarily asking us to abandon our lives and to move to the desert, to join a monastery. He is not expecting us to stop working hard and enjoying the fruits of our labors. He's not calling us to empty our saving accounts and get rid of all our RSPs. For Jesus, the key issue here is not money per se. Rather, he's simply challenging his disciples to change the way they look at the world and also at their lives. The great Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once defined anxiety as the next day. None of us know what will actually happen tomorrow. And that creates a lot of anxiety for most of us. Therefore, we're consumed on this day with trying to anticipate the future, what will be the next day. We want to prepare ourselves against all the possible calamities or struggles we might face tomorrow. And since there's no end to the calamities and struggles we can imagine, well, we are always uncertain and worried. We begin to chase something which we hope will decrease our level of anxiety. We can be so consumed by this process that we often forget what we actually have today. And Jesus says to his disciple to stop worrying. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring worries of its own. Today's trouble is enough for today, he says. All our preoccupation, anticipation, and strategies are most often completely futile because they won't change anything besides maybe poisoning our lives today. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, seeking possessions of objects, or maintaining at all costs our social status, Jesus urges his disciple and all of us to pick up our heads and to look around. Look at the beautiful birds in the air. Look at the gorgeous lilies in the field. Look at the astonishing colors in the tree these days. Look at the amazing kids we have in our congregation here. Jesus invites us to focus our attention and energy into things that gives meaning to our lives. And yes, we can take seriously Jesus' invitation to stop worrying about food, water, or clothing, because studies after studies have shown that there are today enough resources to cover the essential needs of every human being living on this planet. If we would just stop hoarding or speculating on the price of food or staple items, and begin to care enough and to share enough, there will always be enough for all. This is the world Jesus invites us into, a world of abundance, of generosity, of renewed life, a world of we are invited to live a life of abundance that finds its source in everything that God has done in the world and in our lives. We are invited to live a life of generosity that frees us from all the concerns and worries that drag us down and make our lives miserable. We are invited to live a renewed life that makes us the hands and the feet of God's righteousness and justice for all God's children. On Thanksgiving Sunday, Jesus reminds us that there are way much in life than food, parents, or the latest gadgets we are invited or told to acquire. We are called, yes, we are called to open our minds and free ourselves from our anxiety by following a different set of values, different priorities, a different lifestyle. So let us simply enjoy and give thanks for what we have today, because there is enough for all. Let us share our resources generously with one another, because there is enough for all. Let us stop being worried about what might happen tomorrow, because there is enough for all. There is always enough for all, and this is why we can say, thanks be to God, and amen.